Well, here we go this week in the backyard. We're gonna finish up putting those drains, all the penetrations and chases. We're gonna build these templates for our live wells and that keel box. We're gonna try and plane out that deck, and then we're gonna finish up by putting in some through holes in the bilge and getting ready for the seacop. So here we go. All right, so yesterday I didn't really do a whole lot of talking. I was too busy drilling holes, but you can see drill both of those. I think I had some camera problems, and then this will, obviously this will be more what it looks like when it's done. And so let's follow these two here. And you come in here, these shadows. All right, so you can see this is going to be an extra 2-inch chase that just comes from the console back to here. It'll probably stay capped off unless I really need it. And these will be the two drains. The lower one will be for the forward live well, and the higher one will be for this live release well, or the fish kill box that'll be right here. So into the motor well, this will be the floor drain for the main cockpit. These are the two water sources, and you can just see in here. What we may do today is these are actually the through holes, the Groco through hole strainers. May cut those in today and go ahead and get all this drilling done. We're probably going to put a drain here that'll handle this, what I'm going to call a mechanical drain here. This is where my fuel filter, eventually like a power pole pump and all that stuff will be. As you can see, there's an abundance of holes going everywhere. Yeah, you can see the little collection. Those are all the holes. You can see the two wire chases, or actually 3 wire chases, and then a drain for this center live well that'll sit right here. I'm going to put this thing in place and kind of talk through it. But these are crossovers, so I got to get into that stringer system there. So that'll be for that first one. It'll cut over and go that way. Maybe kind of show the graph like my spaghetti. It's all really worked out. And one thing I had to be real conscious of is the elevation of these pipes, because of the ones that come across over here in the well, we'll jump over here now. Okay, so this is that center well now with the cover on it. And you can see the drain. That'll be the drain for that live well. It'll have an overflow drain, so that it'll have a drain in the bottom, which I got to cut a template for that. And this will be the drain and the water source for this live well here. You can kind of see the layout. That mark there, that'll be where the live well is. These black marks that go across, that'll be where my floor bracing kind of compartment. So this will be a storage area. This will be that mechanical area. This hole here will be actually where the fuel comes in. That'll be a chase for the fuel. So it's not exactly where I want it, but because of the spacing and stuff that's on the other side, that's how I had to do it. And then once again, over there will be a live release well. So in this corner here, this will be just mark that spot for where these drains will be. So this will be a floor drain here in this mechanical well, and also in the cockpit. So basically they'll be sitting in there about like that, but I'm gonna recess that so it sits subfloor. We'll put a backer or something on the back side, and then we're gonna do some epoxy and then drill that epoxy and all that out so that it stays watertight. We don't ever have any issues with that. But this is the drain here that I'm talking about. I'm gonna probably it'll hook to a hose. It'll hook to a hose, and the hose will probably come out this way and then turn and go into the motor well. And then that's the drain that I'm talking about bringing in here. So this will be the one for the cockpit drains. We'll talk about those in a second. And then this will be the one that goes right here. All right, just to kind of finish talking about these cockpit drains. This will be the one that goes in this corner, or there'll be one in this corner and also one in that corner. And these will connect to the system. Hopefully I'll show the diagram, right here, that show you the purple line where it'll go there and then drain into the bilge. So that way, any water that falls in here will drain into the bilge, and I'll always have a dry cockpit. And I'm gonna upsize my bilge pump. I probably said that a few times. So now so this is my console template. So this is the exact size of the console. So even though that console is going to be sloped back here, I think I spaced it 16.5 inches, which is just a little farther than I want, but it enables me to walk by there easy and allow me to stand up. And so 3 of these drains. So this one, this one, this one, they all go to the back. This is one that goes to the front. And then this is all live well, these 3 here. And then that extra one, that's that extra 2-inch chase that I just hoped to just put a cap on and never use. But then the little live well will sit right there. And then I've marked the drain, so we'll be able to set that and all that. So we've got everything from here back, all that's done. So what I'm gonna do now is, I've kind of made some marks on the floor, and this is where I was talking about how it fits really, really tight. So it's actually touching the whole wall. So I don't wanna leave it like that and let it potentially rub a hole in it or anything. So we're gonna put some foam or something up underneath it to get it up. I'm also gonna take and I'm going to square these off on both sides because that one's kind of kicked out. That floor, it's kind of kicked out. So I'm going to make it, but I'm going to mark it, and I'm going to put what I'm thinking about doing is putting like a dummy wall in here to separate the fuel compartment, and then have all of this as a dry compartment. And we're going to put a floor drain right there. So any water or moisture or wash down, anything I have to do in here will go into there, and that'll connect to the cockpit drains. And that kind of gets it all. We're gonna have one wiring chase that comes up to here. That'll be all my wiring for the trolling motor and bow lights, which I don't have any of those, but anything else that happens in the future, that'll be a 2-inch line that comes up. It may have to come up through the floor here because it gets pretty shallow. I may show that here in a little while too. All right, we're gonna speed it up a little bit here. What I'm doing now is I'm gonna drill that 2-inch chase where it turns up in the floor right there. So the first thing I have to do is go back to this bulkhead wall to my right there, figure out what my height is and how far off of that stringer I am, and try and take into account how much sweep that fitting has so that it comes up perpendicular up and down. So I kind of measure all that out. You see me using my tape there, and now I'm just trying to get the right offset from the wall because I still want to kind of be able to reach my finger or scraper or fillet tool or something right behind there, because I know I'm gonna have to come back in there and finish that floor and pull fillets and all that. So that's what I was doing there. Now I'm just trying to lay out this floor where this I marked on each side where that little bulkhead goes across there and where my stringers are, and I'm looking at, okay, this is where this drain needs to be. Once again, there's a drain in the forward compartment, 2 in the cockpit, and 1 back there will be in that mechanical hatch or whatever compartment. So I'm just trying to lay that out, but I only drill a pilot hole there because I want to come back and encapsulate that in epoxy. And now this will be kind of the last in-floor installation. Once again, this will be the chase that the fuel line will go from the fuel tank to the mechanical room where the fuel filter and all that will be. And I kind of angle that drill so that fitting will come up straight. So got all that done. Now we move on to the next step. Alright, so we got all those holes drilled. All the holes are drilled. Now, I just went and made a template here. So if I can throw this in there. So you'll see how that one will go right there. And then that one will go over here. Okay, so the reason that I cut those templates is that's very important for the way that I'm going to do these drains. It's because I'm going to have the drain pipes below the deck. And so the bulkhead fitting, without this gasket, because it's all going to be seated and sealed, bedded with 4200 or 4000 probably in this one. So this will actually, it's a slip bulkhead fitting. So it'll actually be put installed into the live well, and it'll actually slide down on the pipe. So this will be the only thing that's truly connected and dependent on the plumbing underneath. Everything else, that overflow will be hooked to a hose, and then this water pressure, it'll be hooked by a hose. So the live well and the kill box, live release well, they'll basically be self-contained units. I'm just going to build them out of foam. So that's why I needed to build this template, so that I make sure that when I build these units, these will be the dimensions. I'll put this on the bottom, drill out the hole, and I'm going to do the same thing where I'll have them setting in an epoxy sleeve, so that way when I put these down there, they should match up perfectly. So that's the plan. That's why I'm doing it that way. I hope all that makes sense, because I'm trying to explain it as best I can. But These little templates I'm putting down here, I'll just use to put on the bottom of the mold. I'll be able to size the mold, and you can see I'm leaving about a 1/4 inch off that back wall just for however much buildup I'm going to have from fiberglass. So I'm trying to be real particular about where I put it down, and then I want to make sure I screw it and secure it so that it stays in place. I'm checking my drawings, checking my design that I did on the model, and I know that exactly where that drain needs to be to line up with the holes that are under the deck there. So I did basically do the same process on both of these, once again by leaving a little bit of space, but those templates just give me something to work from, so that's what I'm using them for. And then once I drill these little pilot holes here, because at this point that I'm doing this, I still don't fully have designed how that drain and all is going to work, how big the hole needs to be. I've got all that figured out now, but I had to work through that a bit. And kind of the same thing with this forward template. All those live well plumbing templates are all kind of the same. The plumbing will actually be set under the deck, and then we'll just install that bulkhead fitting down on it. So as we finish that, we're going to move on here. You know, I've kind of had that deck wobbling real bad, and just go get my 4-foot level, and I'm trying to figure out what the cause is, because I felt like I had all this situated before. I don't know, way back in like episode 9 or something. But somehow when I put these floor decks in there, something got amiss. So okay, here we go. I got my little planer out. I've come in here. Remember, I've had that floor that's a little wobbly. It's been real evident as I've been walking around. And as I've been looking, you can see right here where I have these black marks. Is that when I glued these things in, somehow the brace is proud of where the stringer is. And I kind of leveled those stringers a while back, so I think that may be the source. So I came through here and I marked everywhere I got those lines. That lets me know I need to take it down until I start getting into that stringer. So just got a few little places that I found, so that's what I'm going to do right here, and try and get that ready so that deck can be glued down. Then we got to come back, and all of our little holes we're going to have to put resin, put some epoxy in all of those, and then fill all those pipes in. So we made pretty quick work of this by putting those lines on there. Remember, the line is on the stringer itself and on the floor brace. So as I'm planing down that floor brace, I know when the lines start disappearing on the stringer itself that I've gotten them flush. I mean, your fingers are a real good tell there, but just by putting those marks on there, I was able to do that. And then to get up in the edges, I had to pull that little grinder with that 120 grit wheel, and that works good, but man, it makes a lot of dust. All right, so this will be the strainer. I got 2 of these. So this will go up underneath the bottom. This will all be bedded. And so we'll bed the top side, and we pre-drilled those bottom holes. We'll show it here, like where we capped them on each end with epoxy. So now we got our hole saw here that's just a little bit bigger than that. It's as close as I can get. So this is a 1-inch opening, a little bit over an inch. So this is 1 1/8 inches. Gives me about a 1/16 on each side. So I'm gonna use this little Craig tool, which you can put it, you know, for example, you can put it flat on there. So when you put the size bit through it, it gets you nice and square. Okay, this is a little bit too small. I gotta go get a 1/8. But that helps you to make sure that you're drilling square to the surface. All right, so what I was talking about, as you can see, that 1/8 bit goes right in there, and there's not hardly any play. So as we take this, what I like to do is, and we've already got these pre-drilled. There's already a 1/8 of an inch hole in there, so we kind of already prepared for this. All we're going to have to do is poke through the other side. But I'm going to get on the other side, and I'm going to put some tape on it. And when we go to drill this out with the hole saw, you're going to see that I'm only going to drill this way enough till I can see this bit coming out the other side. And I'm going to turn and come back this way, because that'll give us a much cleaner edge, so we don't push anything through or flake any paint or anything. Like I said, we just kind of put this in here. I know that's where the spot is. So a nice hole on the other side. I don't know how well you can see that. Let me just take that, put it in the little thing there. Kind of got to get it, and all you want to do is push down on this crack. Just push down on it, and then just kind of let it guide you. Wow, we didn't get through. Just a little funny thing here is I'm putting that tape up underneath there. The tape wasn't even on the mark. It was, I put the tape on a speck that was under the boat because I couldn't see well. I'm just going to take this bit, poke through our tape. And this part coming up is just kind of, it's a little bit of skill, but if you go real slow like I showed before, you can see where your bit is hitting. If it's hitting just on this side, then you drop it. So you, but there's really, in this situation, there's no way to do that other than just get up underneath there. So I talked about before drilling from the top and then from the bottom, but then I got to thinking, I have that epoxy plug in there, so I don't have to worry about the plywood blowing out the top. So that's why I decided to just jump underneath the bottom, because that bit shouldn't scratch. If it's anything, it's just going to scratch that gel, the paint, and then that fitting will cover all that up. So that's why I just started from the bottom on both of these. Now all of that should be epoxy. So as you can see, all epoxy, no wood, no. So we got a perfectly epoxied hole, and we'll have a collar around that, so it'll have no wood is exposed there. So all right, that's that side. Now let's we'll tackle this one. First, let's do a test fit here. Make sure that and that's what she'll look like. And there you can see it. That's what she'll look like underneath the bottom. So we'll get that squared up with the strakes and all. That's what she'll look like. I know it seems like this takes forever, but I'm really just trying to take my time and let the bit just eat little by little. You can see I'm getting plenty of shavings coming off of there, but I'm just not in a hurry trying to drill this. All right, same thing. All epoxy. You can see the little piece of tape. Let's see what it looked like. There's that paint job, and you can see how clean that line is. It's just as clean underneath there, and that's just where I had that daub of epoxy on the top. So another clean hole. Now what I want to do is I want to get in here and finish this build up and get it painted. So I got to clean this stuff up. I got to glass this little limber hole up here. I got to glass this piece across the top. Just gonna put a piece of finished glass on that. Put my epoxy in there. I'm gonna paint this. So it'll be done. How about that? That'll be something done. Man, that word done sure sounds good. Little by little, we're gonna keep working. So thanks for watching.